The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. In the ever-evolving landscape of technology, the journey of building a tech company from scratch can be both exhilarating and daunting. Shawn Johnston, a serial tech company founder, knows the ups and downs better than anyone. I've had my face pressed against the glass more than once, he says. That's when you stare into the financial abyss and can't see a way out, but then you do. Survival in the hostile world of startups, and in particular tech startups, demand an ability to focus, refocus, and refocus again and again and again. Since 2010, I've had to reinvent myself so many times I can't recall all the ways that I've had to redefine myself, says Johnston. I redefined and refocused so many times because it's the only way to find the path forward. You simply have to stay on task and never give up. The founder of Forge & Smith, a web design and web design agency, saw a new opportunity and launched Refoundry, a low-code, themeless site builder for WordPress. Johnston says, I saw a need and I decided I could fill it for companies that needed a faster, lower-cost path for their customers' presence online, and it's been a hit. I invited Shawn Johnston of Refoundry to join me for a conversation that matters about how you find the inner strength and discipline to keep going in the world of tech entrepreneurialism. Shawn, welcome.
Thank you.
This is a little bit of a different theme about the tech world and entrepreneurialism because we just keep hearing all of those knock it out of the ballpark, you're a gazillionaire stories.
Yep.
It's not that simple, is it?
No, I've always really stuck to the saying that I heard where it says every overnight success was 10 years in the making.
At a minimum.
Yep.
And so let's go back. When did you start?
So the agency is almost 14 years old, and I started playing around with some of the ideas and systems that sort of eventually became Refoundry about 8 years ago, but we started building it in earnest about 4 years ago.
So tell us a little bit more about Refoundry, and then what are the processes that you go through to build a tech company? Because you're kind of doing it all in the imagination of your mind and code that is hidden from the world to see it. It's not like they're sitting there watching you build it and saying, oh, I can hardly wait till you open the door.
No, that's exactly right. So, I mean, it really comes down to creating the framework for the idea and a hypothesis about how you'll be able to execute on it. And then it's about planning execution and trying to find a way to fund it while you go. And so, yeah, it's a small task.
Yeah, I sense the sarcasm there because it's not a small task.
Not at all.
How do you find the discipline day after day to sit there looking at a screen that you're filling with, data that I don't even know what you use? I was going to say ones and zeros, but it's much more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's for me, it really started around what pain were we trying to solve? And what levers would I be able to, if I could come up with anything that I wanted, what levers could I pull to fix it? There was a time in the agency's evolution where we were realizing I was hitting the limit to how much I could charge for what we do, even though our cost of delivering it was going up. And so the only real lever I had left was time. And so, there's certain patterns and repeated pieces and repeated work that exist in the work that we do. So the idea I had was if I could systemize that, how much time could we save and would that actually get us back to a profitable standpoint? So it was really architecting that framework, figuring out how we might implement that, what framework we would do that in, and then build out a proof of concept and then see if I could use that to find some funding so we could build a team to actually create it.
So you said something kind of interesting there that caught my attention. What pain was I trying to alleviate?
Yeah.
Why use that kind of terminology when it comes to wanting to build out a tech-based solution?
That's right, yeah. If you don't have a pain point that you can articulate to an audience you're building the product for, then it's really hard to convince them they have a problem. And then they're not going to buy it. So I needed to confirm that the pain that I was feeling was also a pain that existed in the larger market and that there wasn't other solutions for it. And then frame our solution in a way that would resonate with that audience and then get them to at least have a conversation with me.
So what was that pain?
So within the agency world, we run everywhere from like under 10 sort of smaller agencies that are still working pretty profitably, but at a much smaller scale.
Okay, define agency. I mean, you talk in a vernacular that I think is foreign to people like me
Sure.
and most people.
Yeah. So digital agency, so creative or strategic agency offering a variety of marketing and design services to businesses and industries, organizations, that sort of thing. A lot of cases, at least for the pain that we're trying to solve, that comes in the form of websites and things that exist in and around websites to actually make them successful communication tools for a business. So yeah, within the agency space, on the smaller end, when your overhead is low and profitability is decent, you're okay. On the much larger end, right, you've got economies of scale. But in the mid space, those of us trying to go from a 10-person headcount to a 30-person headcount, there's a real margin crisis. So 10 years ago, we would be able to operate at like a 30% profit margin, but now that's down to around 12. So for every $150,000 worth of sales I can create, it takes me $100,000 worth of overhead to deliver that. And that just gets really, really difficult to scale. And that was the pain I was trying to solve for us.
So how did you start to design what that pain relief was going to look like?
Yeah, it was sort of, it was where in the process. I've always been sort of really fixated on process and repeatable patterns. And it was in that process, like in my career, I've launched probably over 600 websites. And
for clients?
For clients, yeah, of all different shapes and sizes, yeah. And what I noticed was that humans consume content in very predictable ways, and they convert through a website, whether it's a contact form or a donate, they convert in predictable ways. There's whole industries based around trying to strategize around these predictable patterns. And where there's patterns, there can be system. And when there's systems, we can automate. And that was what I was trying to do was there's only so many ways to arrange content within a website. So if these content pieces are taking repeatable patterns, and if you strip away the way it looks and what content you fill it with and just get that raw framework, can we entrench that? Can we systemize that in a way that makes it much, much easier and faster for us to stand up these things and dress them and fill them with content in unique ways?
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. What had to change in the marketplace for you to be able to start to come up with this lower cost, themeless solution?
Yeah.
Because if you go back 10 or 14 years, maybe the answer that you have right now wouldn't have worked. So what had to change to make that possible?
Yeah, the larger shift in the broader technology world and in sort of SaaS products and e-commerce products, like all kinds of different technology products, there's been a real shift towards what's called low code or no code. And these are systems that are doing the same thing. Instead of repeatedly coding and rebuilding the same things from project to project or need to need, we systemize those parts that are predictably the same so that we can just focus on the parts that are unique.
And so you do some plug and play after a while.
That's right, yeah, because like when you build a car, there's doors and wheels are always the same, windshield's always on the front. Like you can predict the things that are going to be the same and then reuse pieces. IKEA's built an entire industry around this type of approach. And so the broader shift was towards, again, finding ways to stop redoing the same stuff as technological languages stopped evolving as fast, as the landscape stopped evolving so fast. Things started to settle down, and now we're just getting into ideation and iteration, not invention as much. And so for us, the watershed moment was two pieces. Webflow is a low-code, no-code, design-oriented website builder that kind of blew up maybe 5 years ago. And it sort
blew
of
up, not in the went away, but blew up and became very popular.
blew up, and in terms of it got a lot of people excited because it was the first time. Like, it's not the first one. Like 10 years ago, there was something called Dreamweaver. Anyone who knows what that is will giggle a little bit. It was terrible. The code that it output was awful, and it was just not usable. But Webflow actually showed it would be possible to output code that doesn't make Google angry, that just sort of deals with the SEO and practicalities of performing on the internet.
There's
Yeah. Yeah, that whole side.
omnipresent Google as well.
right.
All right.
Yeah. And at the same time, WordPress, which is the content management system that we focused on, and that powers about 43% of the internet worldwide, released some new features, new expanded features of its backend, Gutenberg, this block-based system. And I saw those two things and I thought, can I get these to come together? And if I could, then we'd have a way to provide low-code scale and iteration scalability within the CMS everybody's already really comfortable with.
No, you make it sound so simple. Anybody could do it. The problem is they can't. And even though you conceive of that idea, what does it take to actually materialize it? Because I think this is the thing that a lot of people go, oh, well, you just dream it up, and now that you know how to code and whatnot, you can make it happen. But what is required to be able to actually fulfill that vision? Right.
Yeah. I mean, partly a plan and a vision. So leading into this, we'd already started the process of systemizing our design process. So a part of most agencies' design process is something called user experience or prototyping. And this is where we're roughing together the way content will flow and what a site will look like. Well, I'd actually created a reusable library just for our own team to leverage to make that part of the process faster. So that was the third part. Could we just recreate this? So if I could get this recreated in code, in a build format, could I realize the same time savings that we saw in design here as well? And if all of those things were speaking the same visual language, how quick could we get it? So the first step was simply just rebuilding something that we had invented, and then find where it breaks, where it doesn't work, and then just continue to rinse and repeat until you have something workable. And then we took the plunge about 2.5 years ago and just started using it on our own projects, which was too early, and we had to pivot a couple of more times. And it's really just testing, experimenting, measuring, and pivoting.
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. So all that early development, though, because you still got to run your business.
Yep.
Because otherwise you're not making money.
Nope.
So all that other development, when did it happen?
So it was a lot off the side of our desks. I mean, again, like, I always lament a little bit that I made my hobby my career, because it's also my special interest. It's the thing that I really enjoy, sort of solving problems, particularly design-oriented, organizing information, that sort of stuff.
Right.
And so I did a lot of that in the evenings and weekends, just as part of play and keeping my mind engaged and experimenting. There was
So for no money.
For free. That's right. Yeah, just for my own edification.
Well, maybe not free. Do you have a family?
I do.
So they go, yeah. And so.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I always prioritized family. It was like a lot of times when it was like, I'd stay up after they were in bed or play with something while they were gone, or it would be, my family will tell you that the sheer number of times there were piles of papers with scribbles and drawings and things like that, as I'm just trying to get ideas out of my head onto something I could look at. But yeah, we reached a point. There was a couple of projects that we just didn't succeed with, and it had a lot to do with the lack of flexibility of the current, at the time, traditional development practices or frameworks.
So these are some of the problems that you're trying to solve.
That's right. Yeah, we just were just some projects that just needed flexibility. The tools just weren't there to give it to them. We got a little bit lucky. There was a developer that joined our team that sort of shared the vision. We had been taking advantage of the Shred program for a little while, and we had gotten introduced to an IRAP ITA, and pitched a good project, and we got some funding, and we were able to create a little skeleton engineering team and try to bootstrap it together.
Okay, explain to viewers what SHRED is.
So SHRED is a research and development tax credit program that the government, the federal government offers and has since the 80s.
Yeah, I go, okay, nice idea, but they're not actually giving you cash, they're just giving you tax.
No, I got to pay for it up front. So so all of the overhead outlay has to happen, and then we're able to claim it back.
Right.
So yeah, it took us some time to really benefit from it, and of course you've got to take the risk up front.
So you're taking a chance.
Yep.
And so where do you find, you're running your business, you've got, you know, all the obligations that come with that on a weekly, monthly, annual basis. Plus you got to make sure that you're looking after yourself and your contribution to the family.
Yep.
And then you say, I think I'm going to take a chance and go out and do this. Where do you find the courage to do that?
For me, it was a bit of a passion. I had, around this time that it all came together, I just started moving myself back into a production role. So I just jumped in with everybody, and for a long time I was doing the planning and the prototyping, working with the engineering team in the early days. When we first launched it internally, I was literally building websites and testing our own product. So, you know, some of that was hard. It was really, really challenging to sort of, you know, but it was, you know, 8, 9, 10-hour days. Not to glorify the grind or anything, but sometimes you just have to put in the extra time. I always took a cautiously risky approach, and so it was really just trying to balance cash flow with outlay and try to keep that cash neutral standpoint. Hope you didn't swing too far in either direction.
Yeah, well, I think try is the operative word there because you don't have complete control over
No,
these
not at
things.
all. No. Yeah, the economic ups and downs, you have no control over, that sort of thing. So by utilizing me in sort of a high capacity production role, I was able to reduce that and sort of limit the amount of back and forth or broken telephone that had to go when we were going through, you know, experimentation and revision rounds in the early days, and I think that was a big part of it.
Well, and it helps to guard your cash as well.
That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know, in a lot of cases, as the owner or the primary person, you're obviously the most expensive, and so you're really using as much of your time as possible to sort of drive revenue and protect your cash flow.
So you also had a pitch to who? Did you say IRAP?
IRAP, yeah. So that's the other side of the CRA funding wing. So IRAP.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it works a little bit differently. So it reduces the risk. So you pitch a project to IRAP, and it's the federal government CRA. They have a certain amount of money to invest in R&D, and so all of this is really based in sort of scientific R&D vernacular. And so we pitched them the idea behind Refoundry. We called it anvil blocks in the early days. And they gave us some funding, gave us $100,000. And that's what we used to fund the first.
So is that as an investment or is it a repayable loan?
No, it's an investment. So, and this is one of the really great things about what's possible in the Canadian economy. So the way it works is they approve you for a certain amount. You have to pay the wages, but then you can claim it back the following month, and they'll give you 80% of that outlay. So I'm still putting up first, but I'm getting it back the next month, and I get some funding over a period of time. So it really helps stabilize the
can guard your cash flow.
That's right. Yeah. So it's a really, really valuable service.
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. Ultimately, as you start moving forward, how many people do you have to have on your team in the final push to get it so that the product works? And as you say, you went to say, yeah, it's working, and then went, whoops, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's the load that you're carrying?
I mean, it's not insignificant. We've tried things like this in the past, and even with Refoundry, we kind of built up a small sales team a bit too fast, and so we've had some successes and failures. This time, we just really tried to focus once again on using my time as productively as possible as sort of a frontline tester. So I've shifted my role into what's called founder-led sales. So I'm cold calling, I'm sending out emails, I'm reaching out to my network. We've got 3 agency partners already building with the product. We've got about 15 others that we're in discussions with, and just ramping it up slowly. We don't want to outstrip our ability to support that onboarding process, and we're still learning some of the supports and solutions that they'll need, because everyone's a little bit different. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Are you at that point where you start to say, okay, I'm feeling pretty confident that this has got a place within the market?
Yeah, I think right now we've had some really, really good validation. We also submitted a pitch for the pitch contest with New Ventures BC. We've made it to round 3, which so top 15 of the 200 applicants that started. At the end of the day, though, like, our first early adopter is on their 4th website with us, and so as far as I'm concerned, we've built 108 projects with this at Forge & Smith. The very first agencies that started using it's already on site number 4 months in, and so for me, that's starting to show some really exciting traction.
So the great thing about this is that it is not particular just to a Vancouver market. People can use it anywhere around the world.
That's right. Yeah. If you're reselling digital services, particularly in the form of websites to customers, like, the low-code adoption is happening. RoofFoundry has a real place to serve it in the WordPress sector.
Well, that's also great for the Canadian economy, because if you're selling outside of Canada, you're bringing foreign dollars into our economy and helping to grow in a way that this is one of the advantages that the tech sector brings. It becomes it can become ubiquitous, used anywhere.
That's literally the point of the Shred and I wrap is to bring that type of innovation into the Canadian economy and create Canadian jobs.
So with this kind of support, does that make us a great jurisdiction, a competitive jurisdiction, to encourage entrepreneurs in the tech space to say, develop your company here in British Columbia, because we've got a variety of different advantages?
Yeah,
or do we actually have those advantages?
Yeah, there's a thriving startup community here. A lot of really great accelerators and incubators. A lot of opportunity for angel investors and in different programs like New Ventures BC. There's Foresight, to name just a few. So there's lots of really, really neat opportunities. It's not a huge market, but in terms of just moving fast and breaking things, it's a really really nice place to be able to do that and try to expand from here.
And to alleviate pain for people in other areas of the tech world.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So I want to congratulate you for hanging in there, because I don't think that you've had the luxury of hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of your company, and yet you've hung in there. And that, to me, is one of the great values, and ultimately leads to, let's hope, the kind of success that it looks like you're going to have.
Thank you. Yeah, it's there's been a few sleepless nights, but yeah, so far so good.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.